house again is residential, so this fee effectively just brings this into the equation. So when deciding the sort of commercial activity that should go on, yes, SA6 might be appropriate, but I think we need to have regards to the residential uses surrounding the site. And that's the first thing that I noticed on the site visit, walking in, particularly sort of near the sheltered houses to the rear, the way the development might impact on those houses. I know the previous application went all the way back to those houses, and it's now been brought forward. But the impact of that is that the servicing arrangements are now adjacent, if you like, to those houses. I don't agree with the assessment that deliveries will only be at 7 o'clock in the morning and 10 o'clock at night when the shop opens and closes. Shop this size is likely to use just-in-time delivery system. Probably end up being maybe 4 or 5 deliveries a day, depending on the usage that we get. That would mean deliveries would take place, yes, first thing in the morning, but certainly throughout the day, which means that the houses to the rear of the site potentially have sales in activities taking place not just very early in the morning, but throughout the day. And that distance from the front door of those houses we checked on site was just under 5 metres. Not a very great distance in my view at all. The other thing that I asked on the site visits and haven't seen on the plans is what ranges have been employed by the shop waste disposal and storage. We've got the maps out with the general illusion that it might be this general area here. I couldn't see what was being pointed at. There was a box that looked like it had been on the plans or something like that. But yeah, once you check all the plans online when I got home, that was described as plants, which I take to mean refrigeration equipment or whatever servicing shops. That raises a question in mind about plants being 5 metres away from people's houses as well. Notwithstanding, I noticed the late addition of a condition around around plans for waste disposal facilities. But frankly, that sort of thing should be on the face of the application. You should know where large storage rooms are going to be stored and kept. If you don't know at this stage, we're effectively just leaving it to chance that we'll put them somewhere. You could put it at the front, which will affect street steam, or you could put it at the back, which will affect the amenity of the residents. So I'm not overly happy that there is a lack of clarity on waste disposal on the face of it. Just moving back to delivery then, I looked at the tracking plans that the lorries would have to, both sides lorries, that the condition would have to take. And whilst it's true that they would be able to access the egress of the site in Corbiere, in other words, into Wallasey Village Road, it's not the case in terms of accessing the egress of the service area. They would have to drive in forward gear into the service yard, be unloaded, and then reverse out. To the extent that we're moving to this, at least 5 or 6 of the car parking spaces that we're thinking might be too little would actually have to be moved to allow that move to take place. What the management of that will be, I have absolutely no idea. Whether shoppers would have to be found within the shop or found elsewhere within Wallasey Village Commercial Centre to enable cars to be moved with the lorry to reverse out. That raises questions of safety on site, which I'll allude to within the report. In my mind, servicing arrangements and waste disposal arrangements are unsatisfactory. The effect of the development on what is supposed to be a primarily residential area is also, in my view, unsatisfactory.
Are there any other comments? Well, following the site visit, two things to me particularly. First of all, that road, when the school is open in the morning and in the afternoon, it's an extremely busy road. And just like every other school that's going in and coming out of town, there are lots of children who aren't looking both ways, and parents who are parking in silly places and things like that. And I think that the addition of delivery lorries and people looking for somewhere to park and also shopping in the shop will have a detrimental effect on traffic from that point of view. The other thing that I particularly thought was not attractive was the fact that although I understand that the previous building was very close to the pensioners' flats, which are at the back, and this building isn't going to be any closer, I'm not sure that it's a good argument to say, well, something else was there before, so you can put something else back there now, when something else was there before was unsatisfactory to begin with. And I wonder since this planning is a second planning application for the same store, whether any consideration has been given to actually changing the orientation of the building so that the store, if it was built, would have the back of the store towards number 189, and then the parking places and the delivery and the waste would be at the end towards the public house, and there would be some light for the pensioners' flats.
Thanks, yeah. I do apologise for the interruption, but I did have some questions for our traffic officer, and that was in relation to parking specifically in SPD4. Looking at 4.7, it says that in cases where there is less parking spaces, if you like, than the maximum, and I do understand that's the maximum, but we're looking at 44% here of the maximum. It must be demonstrated that there will be no overspill parking. I mean, how is the applicant demonstrated to you that there will be no overspill parking, especially seeing as though we've got empirical evidence, seeing as though many members were here on the site visit, that there was overspill parking on the day, even though there was only 15 of us there on the site visit, and the school wasn't open because it was the summer holidays.
Any further comments?
Thank you. Through you, Chair. I understand the point you're making about SPD4, but to my recollection, it's the overspill parking should not create any safety issues.
No, but I mean, I can quote it verbatim if you don't have the policy with you. No overspill parking that would have an adverse impact on the safety or amenity of existing residents. Overspill parking by its very nature, especially to the extent that we saw on the day, which will be multiplied, of course, if this development goes ahead, of course, has an impact on the amenity of existing residents.
Thank you. Through you, Chair. As we saw on the day, there is existing parking along Wallasey Village Road. So that parking on Wallasey Village Road already occurs. This store, at certain times of day, is likely to create parking on Wallasey Village Road, as long as there's no parking already in place. So because the parking already occurs, I think it's difficult to argue that the parking from this store is going to cause any greater amenity or traffic issue than the existing parking already occurs in the road. The junctions nearby are protected by waiting restrictions. The area outside the store itself, if it were to go ahead, would have zigzag lines from the Griffin crossing, which would be more restricted than the yellow lines. So it's my view that we would struggle to defend a refusal on the grounds of highway safety in this application.
Elisa?
Thank you, Chair. I'd just like to ask a question really regarding the delivery timescales. I know it was mentioned that it would be 7 AM and 10 PM, so the shop was actually closed. But can we actually put a restriction on that? My understanding is that we can't.
Can we restrict?
We can. So if this was to be approved, is that a restriction that could actually be applied to this application?
Stuart?
Sorry to be unusual, but as SPD4 has been brought up, I remember a number of meetings ago we discussed developments in the light of plan policy framework and statements by probably car friendly ministers in Plan Wide. Just glancing at the plan policy statement, it talks about, paragraph 39 talks about development should be located in design where practical to accommodate the efficient delivery of goods and supplies. Paragraph 36, which follows it up, answers it, says the key to facilitating this would be a travel path. All developments which generate significant amounts of movement should be layered to provide a travel path. Of course, the good old paragraph 39 says if setting local planning parking standards, residential and non-residential developments, local planning authorities should take into account most of things, local car ownership levels. These seem to me to be the policies that we ought to be judging our parking and chat movements on rather than SPD4.
Well, the officer's recommendation is to approve, so before we go to that, do you want to say something, Paul?
I'd like to move refusal to form the board to move as well if that's the end of the bill. Thanks, Chair. Having regard to the scale and siting of the proposed development and its close proximity to adjacent residential properties, in particular numbers 42, 44, 46 and 48 Marslands Road, the proposed development would result in an unneighbourly and unacceptable form of development in that it would lead to the overshadowing of adjacent dwellings together with noise and general disturbance associated with the proposed use of the land, which would be detrimental to the amenities which the occupiers of these properties can reasonably expect to enjoy. The proposal, if allowed, would be contrary to policy SH6 of the adopted Wirral Unitary Development Plan. I would like also to add, Chair, and or this committee is also not content that the parking standards contained within SPD4 have been met and that the parking provision in the application is insufficient.
Okay, well before that goes forward, I want to just make sure that the officers are happy with the reasons for refusal, so that we don't find ourselves in a position of going to appeal and doing something wrong. So I just want to check with the officers that that is a sufficient reason for refusal before we go anywhere.
Thank you, through you, Chair. I think that the reason for refusal that Councillor Hayes has provided could be sustained at an appeal if members wanted to view the unneighbourly development. The car parking and servicing, again, it could form a second reason for refusal. Members aligned to refusing on those grounds as well. I think we'd have to look at that carefully. So members were aligned to refusals on parking and servicing arrangements as well. Then
Thank you for that. I think I'm looking at a second.
I'll certainly second. I'll certainly second this. I was just going to ask Kathy, rather than Kathy stress we did before, the national plan policy framework, I don't want to go for touchstone to go for. As much as I second the motion, I'm not overly convinced that SPD4 is good as a handed hat on the grounds that we only set the maximum to 13 years.
I think listening to debate members were minded to refuse it on the second car parking and servicing reason for refusal. I would suggest following form of words. The local planning authority considers the proposal to be unsatisfactory in that inadequate provision has been made within the site to cater for servicing needs likely to be generated by the proposal, and inadequate provision has been made within the site for off-street car parking needs likely to be generated by the proposed development, which would be detrimental to the amenities which are
correct now with the changes in it? Okay, so the recommendation has been to refuse. It's been proposed by Paul and seconded by Stuart. So all those in favour of refusal, can you please show your hands? And all those against? Okay, thank you very much. So that's been refused. We're now going to move on to item number 15. And now, as we we'll just give it a minute to really. Thank you very much. Now, can we settle down, listen to presentation for agenda item number 15, please, Joe?
Thank you, through you, Chair. Councillor Jeff Green has requested that this application be taken out of delegation and a qualifying petition containing 29 signatures has been received against the proposal. Caldy Conservation Area Advisory Committee have also raised objections, and 5 individual letters of objection have also been received. The application site comprises the detached two-storey dwelling house located in a large plot within the Caldy Conservation Area. The existing house is positioned at a 45-degree angle to the road, and the house is well screened from the street. The supporting evidence states that the house has not been occupied for the last 2 years. The proposed Art Deco style property will be positioned within a similar footprint and set at the same 45-degree angle and set 21 metres back from the road. The property will be predominantly 3 storeys with a flat roof which incorporates an open balcony on all sides. The proposed height doesn't exceed the height of the existing ridge, however the outlook has been increased. The spacious nature of the plot will ensure that the development does not appear over-dominant, and the surrounding properties contain large kitchen rooms with dominant dormers that reach similar heights. The design of the new dwelling will replicate some of the original Art Deco features, but the overall scale and bulk relates well to its landscape setting. The materials proposed will be predominantly render. The big concerns raised relating to the design of the property. However, this part of the conservation area contains individual properties that have developed over time, and as such represent a catalogue of house designs representing different styles and different designs and at different ages. The principle of an Art Deco style house with a modern twist is not considered inappropriate. The proposal meets the council's required separation distances and there will be no issues of overlooking. In addition, the boundary is well screened with substantial planting both within the site and within neighbouring properties. For these reasons, it's considered that the proposal is acceptable in terms of scale, design and siting, and will not impinge on the scale or character of the conservation area or the residential amenities of the surrounding occupiers. Therefore, suggest that the proposal is recommended approval subject to the attached conditions.
There's a petition for this representative here who wants to come forward and talk.
Thank you.
We've got 5 minutes. Just press the little back button and tell us your name and address. Thank you very much.
Good evening, everyone. Chair, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for allowing me this
Excuse me,
opportunity.
can you just tell us your name, please?
I am David James, and I've lived next door to Corbiere for 32 years. I'm a member of the Caldy Society, and I speak with their full support. I'm also just one voice amongst the many residents who wish to appeal against this application. So I'll try to cover all their objections as they put it to me. The applicant has given me and my near neighbours a very substantial portfolio praising the proposed design and suggesting that the plans have already been approved by a previous Wirral Conservation Officer. At first blush, the plan seemed striking, and the case for demolition and rebuilding seemed plausible. However, on closer inspection, there are identified a number of serious problems. Firstly, why demolish our Caldy heritage? Corbiere should not be demolished according to the specific criteria to prevent demolition in the Caldy conservation area as defined in the Unitary Development Plan. These are namely, Corbiere is an attractive property with architectural heritage and should not needlessly be destroyed. Despite Corbiere not being a listed building, it is an important contribution in architectural terms alone to Caldy and thus to Wirral, and relates well in style, scale and age, forming part of the character of this conservation area. Also, Corbiere has merit contributing to the history, character and appearance of the conservation area. Speaking to residents, the most pressing point was to stop the wanton destruction of another substantial, old and very attractive house that fits perfectly into the Caldy conservation area. Despite the superficial dilapidation during the 2 years of neglect, we residents in old houses are of the opinion that the current building could be economically restored. The environmental cost to demolish the original Corbiere is massively greater than any refurbishment. Corbiere can be and should be saved. The application states on a similar footprint, but as I calculate, the new footprint is more than 3 times bigger than the original house and almost twice the size of the current footprint if you include all the recent extensions. The total area of the new house is over 16,000 metres square. 16,000 metres square. That is over 6 times bigger than the original house and over 4 times bigger than the whole of the current house. This is surely a major point for you all to consider. The new footprint and scale of the house are not similar at all. The residents' objections are strongly persuasive, if not overwhelming. We passionately believe the proposed design of the house resembles a huge office block. Every household on Thorsway and Private Drive, which is the adjacent road, and all those on King's Drive, which is the road leading up to Thorsway, all of the people I met willingly signed against this petition. His Royal Highness Prince Charles's architectural opinions may not be everybody's cup of tea, but if I may steal his infamous expression, the Corbiere plan would be a carbuncle on the much-loved face of Caldy. Nobody I met had anything complimentary to say about this application. The local objections voiced to me against the style were consistent. It did not fit in with local properties, the visual amenity was spoiled, that tree cover was not a reliable shield. The features were on a much bigger scale, and therefore the special character of Corbiere was lost. The list goes on. I've only got 5 minutes.
Mr. James.
The proposed house is
Mr.
not...
James, I think your time is up. Can you conclude, please?
Currently, all my neighbours enjoy an enviable level of privacy. The proposed third floor accommodation with a 360-degree viewing terrace into our bedrooms and gardens is an unnecessary and resentful intrusion. It is a significant change to the old Corbiere.
Mr. James, thank you. You have to finish with that. You've gone well past your 5 minutes. Thank you very much. Is the applicant here? you like to come forward?
I have some handouts. Do you want me to give those out now or after I've spoken?
Well, it's up to you. It's your presentation, so.
No, no, yes. Got 3 sets, so if I give you one on each side and one chair, is that okay?
If you'd like to turn your microphone on, press the silver button and just give us your name and address, please.
Thank you. My name is Stuart Wilson, and my address is Sandys Park, House Drive, Wallasey Village. I'd just like to say first of all, I'm quite disappointed that that's fend off some quite impressive rejections so far. We've spent an 8-month period through 11 design structures in actually getting to where we are today. This was not a 5-minute thing on one night where we thought we'd throw it in and see what could happen. We've continually had developments with the Council's Conservation Officer, sorry, past and present, and with planning, and we've worked within conservation planning guidelines. We have experience of previous schemes. I personally overran and developed a quadrant in Hoylake, we redeveloped. We do understand how to work within a conservation area, and we understand how to work with our neighbours, and also how to develop areas and get them back to how they should be. The existing property has been unoccupied as a family home before the previous owner, and before that as well. When we bought Corbiere, it was in a dilapidated state. It was also remains quite dangerous in certain parts through some of the botched extensions and building work that has gone on over the years. Conservation recommended that it should be regraded from category C, from a BC to a C, and the definition of C in the Donald Install Caldy Conservation report was either modern buildings of little interest or buildings where character has been lost beyond economic redemption. We wanted to develop a high quality contemporary design, didn't mimic others within the area, but at the same time did not introduce a style perceived as alien nor appearing too prominent in the context of the conservation area. I know that the objections mainly have been on size, privacy and design style. Would you like to cover those 3 areas with you now, please? First of all, size. The issue on size is the impact on the increase on the actual site within the conservation area. If you have a look at the plans that I've provided where it shows you blue and red, we've actually increased the footprint from 7.2% to 8.5% on a 1¼ acre plot. It's quite a substantial plot, and the actual size of the footprint is actually quite minimal. We've actually put some of the garage area underground to limit the impact on Four Winds, which is our nearest neighbour, while at a considerable expense to ourselves. Second floor accommodation provides not a wrap-round balcony as has been described by the actual application, but it's actually a service balcony in the front purely for servicing. And the top floor has opaque glass, behind that a solid structure so that you cannot see in and out. We're obviously quite concerned of our own privacy as well as our neighbours' privacy. We also retain a large landscape gardens, and the conservation planner was keen to focus on that. We retain everything, and we've also proposed an increase to the landscape
case, all guidelines have been adhered to, and we believe the increasing size of scale does not have an impact on the conservation area. So Glenn's views have a greater impact, no greater impact than the existing building, and in our view actually enhanced the view. I mean, quite simply, if you walk down Thorsway, whether you like the proposal or not, it's very hard to see it because Thorsway drifts away from Corbiere. On a privacy front, the development has taken account of all interface distances set out within SPG 12 and also complies with all criteria set within policy HS 11 as well. We're very keen that we're aware of those policies and we stay within the boundaries that we need to. The boundaries full screen.
Excuse me, you had 5 minutes now. Sorry to interrupt. Okay, sorry.
Can I just finish off?
Very, very, very quickly, please.
Okay, thank you. We've been very putting a thought into what we've done, and we'd like you to consider that with obviously the timescale and thought that we spend with the valleys and actually doing that over 8 months plus years.
Thank you very much. Could you just press your button on your microphone for me, please? Thank you. Okay, open it to the floor. Now the ward counter, I'm awfully sorry, really sorry.